Have you ever wondered what the gods eat? No, I'm not talking about that fancy restaurant downtown with the dramatic name. I mean, what did ancient people think the actual gods on Mount Olympus or in the heavens above had for dinner? It turns out they believed the gods got hungry, just like us. So they threw the original divine dinner parties, and let me tell you, the menu was out of this world. Welcome back to our channel, where today we read diving into one of the most fascinating aspects of human history, the food of the gods. Welcome to FoodSaga. Like, subscribe, and comment for more. Let's start. This isn't just about leaving an apple on an altar. We're talking about elaborate culinary rituals, sacred recipes, and feasts that connected mortals with the divine. It's a story of how food became the ultimate language of devotion, a way to say, hey, we appreciate you, please don't send a flood. Let's start with the basics. Ancient cultures all over the world, from the Greeks and Romans to the Egyptians and Maya, shared a core belief: gods needed sustenance. They weren't just floating around as ethereal spirits, they had appetites. So what was on their cosmic shopping list? Well, pretty much the best of everything humanity had to offer. We're talking freshly baked bread, the finest cuts of meat, jugs of rich wine, and even fragrant incense, which was considered a kind of aromatic appetizer for the gods. Think of it like this: if you were trying to get on the good side of an all-powerful being, you wouldn't offer them leftovers, would you? You'd give them the best of the harvest, the prize-winning bull, the wine you'd been saving for a special occasion. These offerings were a sign of respect and a demonstration of sacrifice. People gave up something valuable to show their devotion, hoping to receive blessings, protection, or a bountiful harvest in return. It was a cosmic transaction, and food was the currency. But it wasn't just about piling food on a plate. Every single ingredient was loaded with symbolism. It was a language of flavors. Grains like wheat and barley, used to make bread and porridge, represented life, fertility, and the cycle of death and rebirth. Giving grains was like offering the very essence of life itself. Wine and other fermented drinks, like mead or beer, were a bit more complex. They represented the spirit, ecstasy, and a connection to a higher state of consciousness. The intoxicating effect of alcohol was seen as a divine gift, a way to briefly touch the world of the gods. Then you have the meat. Offering an animal, often a bull, a sheep, or a goat, was a huge deal. It was a powerful sacrifice that symbolized strength, vitality, and life force. The process was deeply ritualistic. The animal would be consecrated, and after the sacrifice, a specific portion, usually the fat and bones, would be burned. The rising smoke was believed to travel up to the heavens, carrying the essence of the offering directly to the gods. It was like divine barbecue smoke signals. And what happened to the rest of the meat? We'll get to that delicious part in a bit. And of course, you can't forget dessert. Sweets like honey, cakes, and ripe fruits were offered to show gratitude and joy. Honey was especially prized. It was seen as a pure, divine substance, sometimes called the nectar of the gods. Offering something sweet was a way of saying thank you for the good things in life. So, when you combine all these elements, you're not just giving a meal. You're sending a complex message filled with meaning. Life, spirit, strength, and gratitude all served up on a sacred platter. Now, where did all this divine cooking happen? Not in your average home kitchen. Major temples had their own dedicated kitchens, almost like holy culinary laboratories. These weren't just places to chop vegetables. They were sacred spaces where priests and priestesses, acting as divine chefs, prepared these ritual dishes. And they had some seriously strict rules to follow. These recipes and procedures were often secrets, passed down orally from one generation of priests to the next. The rules dictated everything: what ingredients could be used, how they had to be prepared, what prayers needed to be said during the cooking process, and even who was allowed to cook the food. The purity of the chefs was paramount. They often had to undergo purification rituals, like fasting or bathing, before they could even step foot in the temple kitchen. This was to ensure that the food was ritually clean and worthy of the gods. Imagine a priest in ancient Egypt carefully grinding grain in a specific way while chanting a hymn to Osiris. Or a Roman priestess meticulously baking a sacred cake using a recipe that was said to have been handed down from the founding of the city. These weren't just cooks, they were culinary conduits, channeling human devotion into edible form. The temple kitchen was the heart of the temple, transforming earthly ingredients into divine sustenance. The precision and dedication involved showed just how seriously people took feeding their deities. So the gods have been fed, the smoke has risen to the heavens. What happens next? A party, of course. Many of these sacred offerings were the opening act for huge feasts and festivals. This is where things get really interesting, because it wasn't just the gods who got to eat. After the divine portion of the offering, the smoke, the essence, the small piece left on the altar was given to the gods. The rest of the food was shared among the community. This was the ultimate community building event. Think about it, everyone came together, from the richest aristocrat to the humblest farmer, to share a meal that had been blessed by the gods. The meat from the sacrificed animal, which was a rare luxury for most people, was roasted and distributed. The bread, cakes, and wine were passed around. These feasts were a physical manifestation of the community's bond with each other and with their gods. Celebrations like the Panathenea in Athens or the Saturnalia in Rome were massive public festivals centered around sacrifice and feasting. It was a time of joy, social cohesion, and spiritual renewal. Sharing this sacred food was believed to transfer the deity's blessings to the people. You weren't just eating a piece of roasted beef. You were partaking in a divine meal, strengthening your connection to the sacred. It blurred the lines between the earthly and the divine, turning a religious ritual into a joyous, communal celebration. It was a way of saying, we're all in this together, under the watchful eyes of the gods we've just fed. Ultimately, all these rituals, ingredients, and feasts boil down to one powerful idea. Food was a bridge between the human and the divine. In a world full of mysteries and forces beyond their control, ancient people used food as a fundamental way to communicate with the gods. It was a tangible, universal language that everyone understood. You might not be able to see a god, but you could prepare a meal for them. You could smell the incense, taste the wine, and see the smoke rising to the heavens. Offering food was a way to open a dialogue. It was used to ask for things: a good harvest, victory in battle, health for a sick child. It was used to give thanks for blessings already received. And it was used simply to show devotion, to honor the powerful forces that govern their lives. This act of giving something so essential to our own survival created a powerful bond of reciprocity. Humans feed the gods, and in return, the gods protect and provide for humans. This relationship, built around the sharing of food, humanized the gods and elevated humanity. It made the divine seem more accessible and relatable, while also embedding spiritual significance into the everyday act of eating. It transformed a simple meal into a profound act of faith. So the next time you sit down for a special dinner, take a moment to think about the ancient origins of feasting. You're participating in a tradition that's thousands of years old, a tradition that once aimed to bring heaven and earth together, one delicious bite at a time. Thank you so much for joining me on this culinary journey through history. If you found this as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful corners of our past. Let me know in the comments what you think the gods would want to eat today. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Food Saga. Like, subscribe, and see you next time.